Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're going to be bringing you the second part of our job interview series.
That's right. So this is an advanced lesson, and we're going to be talking about educational background and experience.
Right. So in the first part, we saw preparing for a job interview. Now we are at the job interview, and we're just going to be talking about your educational background and your job experience.
That's right. And the language we're going to learn is going to focus mostly on these two areas.
Okay, perfect. So let's take a look at some of the difficult words before we listen to the dialogue in Vocabulary Preview.
Vocabulary Preview.
All right, so we're going to talk about a few common words that have to do with education. Now, the first word, I think we might know this one, but there's a little trick to it. So the first one is major.
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 So, yeah, I guess everyone knows what a major is, right?
Yeah, it's the main subject that you study in university.
Right, so you can study business as a major or...
history.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but you can also use it as a verb, right?
That's right. I majored in history.
Majored in.
Mm-hmm.
So usually it's followed by the preposition in.
Yes, always, in fact.
Okay.
When used as a verb, I majored in science.
I majored in business.
Yes.
Okay, so you can say my major is business administration or history, or you can say I majored in business.
Yeah, and the same pattern applies to minor.
Okay, so minor, this is really interesting because this is more common in English-speaking countries, right?
That's right.
So what exactly is a minor?
Well, just like your major, but smaller.
Okay.
So if you major in history, maybe 60% of your classes are in history, and you minor in French, maybe 30 or 40% of your classes are in French.
So basically, you can have two subjects in your degree. You can have a major in business with a minor in art.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. All right, and another two simple words, a bachelor's degree.
Bachelor's degree, okay.
A bachelor's degree is what you get after going to university for 4 years.
Okay, so a bachelor's degree, after 4 years, you get that.
Yep.
After that, you get a master's degree.
Right. So that's another 2 years after your bachelor's degree.
Okay, and I guess a master's is more focused on an area, right?
Yes, more specialized.
More specialized. And then the highest degree you can get is a PhD.
Exactly.
Which is a philosophy doctorate, right?
Uh-huh.
But you're not actually getting a degree in philosophy.
No, it could be in international relations.
Okay. But this is really hard to get. You
Yeah.
have to go to school for another 5 or 6 years, right?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of research, and not many people have it.
Yeah. Anyway, some simple words, but you know what? It's quite unique to the English-speaking world, this system, so we thought we'd bring it to you now.
Right, perfect. So now let's listen to this guy who is at an interview, and he's going to be talking about his education and work experience.
Thanks for coming in today. Did you have any trouble finding us? Please, take a seat.
Thank you.
So, let's get started. Tell me a bit about your educational background.
Sure. Well, I graduated with honors from Chesterton University with a major in business administration, with a specialization in information management, and I minored in psychology. I chose this course of study for two reasons. I wanted to gain some practical, marketable skills, which the information management track provided, and I also feel that the interpersonal skills are essential for professional success, hence the minor in psychology.
Interesting. And your postgraduate studies?
Well, I am really passionate about consumer behavior, so I pursued a master's in that area. I also strive to keep my professional skills current, so I continuously attend seminars and conferences related to management and customer service.
Very good. Now, tell me a little bit about your work experience. I see here that you previously worked at Oracle.
Yeah, I worked as their customer support manager, which brought me a breadth of experience in both client care and process management. I supervised and coordinated the customer support team as well as implemented new strategies to achieve better customer satisfaction.
Interesting.
Yes, in this position, I was able to make some pretty significant contributions to the overall success of the company. With the different initiatives that we implemented, we lowered our churn rate to about 5%, which had a direct impact on revenue.
Well, those are some pretty good answers to those questions, but I don't know, Marco.
There was a little awkward moment. I don't know if you guys heard it. Natural body... What's it called? Functions.
Yeah.
So,
oh, dear.
Well, making the interview a little bit more interesting, right? It doesn't have to be boring.
Exactly. But what is really interesting is some of the language he used to describe his educational background and work experience. So let's look at that now in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Okay, so in Language Takeaway today, we have 7 words that we want to focus on before we give you some tips about doing well on a job interview. So let's take a look at the first word. Course of study.
Course of study.
Course of study.
A course of study.
So what is a course of study exactly?
Basically, it's like a plan of study or a path of study.
Okay, so his course of study was...
Business administration.
Exactly, so that is his course of study. Now let's take a look at our second word. Track.
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 So he said he wanted to gain some practical, markable skills that the information management track provided.
Exactly.
So what does he mean by this track?
Again, basically, if the track of study is like the path of study.
Okay.
So the direction of your study.
Okay, so I guess it would be like, think of a train and the train tracks, right?
Exactly.
Where the train travels. So that's where it's taking you. That's the path that he followed or you should follow or you want to follow.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. Now let's take a look at our third word, and it's a really nice conjunction. Hence.
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 H-E-N-C-E. Hence.
Hence. So it sounds fancy, but
Yes.
what
Really
does
simple.
it mean?
So, therefore. Yeah.
Right. So you can use it as a conjunction between 2 ideas. So he said, what would be an example of how you could use hence?
You could say the economy is doing poorly, hence people are losing their jobs.
Okay. Hence. So therefore, in consequence.
Right.
So.
Exactly.
But it just sounds a lot more like professional.
Formal.
Formal.
Yeah.
Okay. So try and use this conjunction hence, right? Instead of saying so, therefore.
Yep.
Use it. Okay. Our fourth word.
Pursued.
Pursued.
He pursued a master's.
Okay. So to pursue.
To chase after something.
To chase after. So you can pursue a master's degree like he did.
Yes, you can pursue a promotion.
A dream.
Nice one.
Can you pursue a girl?
Yes, you can.
All right. So pursue to chase.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's look at our next word. Strive.
Another great word you can use when talking about your experience. To strive is to try really hard.
To try really hard.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know we have some examples for strive.
Yeah, let's take a listen.
Example 1. At our company, we are always striving to improve our services. Example 2. He really strived to get a new job and his work paid off.
Okay, great examples of strive, to fight, to try really hard.
Yep.
All right. Okay, now the next word, I didn't really know what it meant, so this is really interesting. Breadth.
Breadth.
So it's kind of like saying bread, but adding a TH at the end.
Yeah.
Breadth.
Breadth of experience.
Okay, so this basically means it's wide.
Exactly. So when you have a great breadth of experience, you have a wide variety of experience.
Okay, so maybe in different fields or in different jobs. So
Yep.
you can have experience like in marketing and in a little bit in finance and a little bit in management.
Yes, a breadth of experience.
All right. All right. And now for the last word, it's actually 3-in-1.
A 3-in-1 deal.
A 3-in-1 deal. That actually they are very related.
Okay.
Right? So when he talked about his work experience, he was saying he supervised and coordinated the customer support team.
Okay, so he watched over, right? And made things work together well.
To coordinate.
Yes.
So these are really great verbs that you can use when you're talking about your job responsibilities.
Yes.
I supervised.
I coordinated.
And he used another really great one that said to implement.
To implement, to make something happen, to put it in place.
Right? So he implemented new strategies.
Implemented new policies.
Okay. To set in action.
Exactly.
All right. So a lot of great vocabulary, a lot of great stuff, and well, you can use it for when you are at a job interview. So let's listen to this dialogue again. And when we come back, we're going to give you some tips so you'll do well in this part of the job interview.
Hey, Ryan. Have you ever noticed how people get super nervous before a job interview? It's like their brain forgets all the English they ever learned.
Oh, absolutely. The moment they sit in front of the interviewer, boom! Everything disappears. But honestly, being confident and knowing what to say makes all the difference.
Exactly. You know, many English learners think interviews are just about answering questions, but they're actually a perfect chance to show your personality and communication skills. Employers love that.
Totally. And one of the best ways to start strong is by talking about your educational background clearly and confidently. For example, instead of saying, I studied business, you could say, I graduated with a bachelor's degree in business administration. It sounds way more professional, right?
Yes, and if you want to sound even better, you can add details, like, I majored in business administration with a minor in psychology. See how natural that sounds? You're giving extra information without sounding complicated.
Good point. Let's teach a little phrase here. I majored in means your main subject at university, and I minored in means your secondary subject. Simple but powerful vocabulary for interviews.
Exactly. And pronunciation matters too. You say major with a soft J sound, major, and minor with a long I, minor. Clear pronunciation always helps you sound more confident.
Right. And confidence isn't about being perfect, it's about sounding prepared. You can even practice your answers in front of a mirror. Pretend you're in the interview. That trick really helps.
That's true. The interviewer wants to know not just what you studied, but why you studied it. So if you say, I chose this course because I wanted to develop practical skills and learn how people think, that shows passion and purpose.
Perfect example. You're not just listing degrees, you're showing motivation. And that's something interviewers remember.
Exactly. And hey, listeners, if you're enjoying this conversation and finding it useful, don't forget to like, share, and comment below. Your support helps us bring more real-life English lessons every week.
You know, Ava, after talking about education, the next big thing in a job interview is work experience. That's where most people freeze. They don't know how to describe what they've done in English.
Yes, and that's such a missed opportunity. When you talk about your work experience, you're actually showing your skills, achievements, and how you solve problems. It's not just a list of jobs, it's your story.
Exactly. Instead of saying something simple like, I worked in customer service, try something stronger like, I supervised a customer support team and implemented new strategies to improve satisfaction. See? That one sentence shows leadership, teamwork, and results.
That's a great example. You used 3 strong action verbs there: supervised, implemented, and improved. Action verbs make your answers powerful and professional. So listeners, write those down. They'll help you sound confident in any interview.
Absolutely. And here's a small grammar tip. When you talk about your past experience, use the past tense. I managed, I created, I improved. But if you're still doing the job, use the present tense. I manage, I create, I improve.
That's such an important point. Using the right tense shows that you understand time in English, and that makes you sound more fluent. Also, you can use numbers to make your achievements more impressive. For example, I increased sales by 20%.
Yes, numbers always catch attention. Interviewers love hearing measurable success. It sounds real and confident. You can even say, I reduced customer complaints by 10%, or I trained a team of 15 employees.
Exactly. And if you're just starting out and don't have much experience, don't worry. You can still talk about internships, volunteer work, or even group projects from school. Just focus on what you learned and how it made you better.
That's a fantastic tip. You can say, during my internship, I learned how to communicate with clients and manage deadlines. That shows growth and responsibility, keywords interviewers love to hear.
That's so true. And remember, it's not about having the longest resume. It's about showing you're passionate, capable, and ready to grow. That's what employers want to feel when they hear you speak.
Exactly. And listeners, if this is helping you build your confidence for your next interview, make sure you like this episode and share it with your friends who are also learning English. They'll thank you for it.
Ryan, you know what I think is really interesting? How some people have great education and experience, but they still struggle to express it naturally in English during an interview.
Yes, that's so true. It's not always about what you say, it's about how you say it. The tone, the confidence, and even the small connecting phrases make a huge difference.
Exactly. For example, instead of jumping straight into your answer, you can start with a natural expression like, "Sure, I'd be happy to talk about that." Or, "That's a great question." It sounds polite, friendly, and fluent.
Right. Those little phrases show that you're comfortable with English and that you know how to handle a professional conversation. It's like warming up your answer before giving the main point.
Exactly. And when you give your answer, try using connectors like first of all, also, in addition, as a result, or because of that. These help your speech flow smoothly, like natural English speakers.
Yes. For example, you can say, first of all, I wanted to gain practical experience. In addition, I was interested in understanding how businesses communicate with customers. That's such a nice, logical way to explain your motivation.
Beautiful example. And you know what else? Using polite intonation makes a big difference. Don't rush. Take small pauses between ideas. It shows control and confidence.
Exactly. And here's a fun practice idea for our listeners. Record yourself answering one interview question every day. Listen back and ask yourself, do I sound confident and clear? If not, try again. That's how you improve fast.
I love that idea. Speaking practice is everything. Even 5 minutes a day can change how you sound. And when you feel confident, your English sounds more natural and your message becomes stronger.
So true. Confidence comes from preparation, not perfection. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. That's something every learner needs to remember.
Absolutely. And listeners, if you're learning something new today, don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode with your friends. Maybe you'll help them nail their next interview too.
Ryan, let's talk about something that most learners forget: showing passion during a job interview. Many people only talk about facts like degrees and job titles, but passion is what makes you memorable.
Oh, absolutely. Employers don't just hire skills, they hire energy, attitude, and excitement. If you sound bored about your own experience, how will they believe you'll be excited about the job?
Exactly. You can use expressions like, I'm really passionate about, or I've always been interested in, or what excites me most about this role is. These make your answers sound alive and full of personality.
Yes. And when you talk about passion, smile a little. Even if it's just an audio interview, smiling changes your voice. It makes you sound friendly and confident. You can hear it even if people can't see you.
That's such a great tip. You can also connect your passion to your goals. For example, I'm passionate about helping people solve problems. And that's why I decided to work in customer service. It sounds natural and meaningful.
Exactly. And here's something for our listeners. Don't be afraid to share short stories. Instead of just saying, I like teamwork, you can say, in my previous job, I worked with a team of 5 people to create a new project, and it was so rewarding to see it succeed. Stories make your answers real.
That's such a good point, Ava. Stories show what kind of person you are: positive, helpful, and active. They also help the interviewer remember you. People forget words, but they remember stories.
Totally. And if you ever feel nervous, take a slow breath before you answer.
That 1 second can help you think clearly and stop you from saying, or too much.
Yeah, that's so true. And remember, passion doesn't mean shouting or being overly dramatic. It means speaking with interest and purpose. You can be calm and still sound very passionate.
Exactly. When you combine passion with preparation, you shine naturally. That's when your English, your story, and your confidence all come together perfectly.
Well said, Ava. And listeners, if this part inspired you, share your passion in the comments. Tell us what kind of job or dream you're working towards. We love hearing your stories.
Ryan, another thing that always surprises me is how many people forget to prepare questions for the interviewer. It's such a powerful moment, and most candidates just say, "No, I don't have any questions." That's a big mistake.
Exactly. Asking good questions at the end of the interview shows confidence, curiosity, and professionalism. It tells the interviewer that you care about the company and the position. It's your chance to shine one more time.
Right. Instead of saying nothing, try asking something like, "Can you tell me more about the team I would be working with?" Or, "What qualities do successful employees in this company usually have?" Those are smart and natural questions.
Yes, and they make a great impression because they show that you're thinking ahead. You can also ask, how does this company support employee growth and learning? That one really shows your motivation to improve.
I love that one. It's polite, professional, and it tells the interviewer you're serious about your future. And remember, your tone should always be friendly and calm, never nervous or robotic.
Exactly. It's all about sounding curious, not desperate. When you ask questions with interest, you look confident and mature. Employers love that kind of attitude.
Also, here's a secret tip. You can prepare one question that connects to something the interviewer said earlier. For example, you mentioned that your company values innovation. Could you tell me more about how the team creates new ideas? That sounds natural and shows you were listening carefully.
That's such a great strategy. It makes the conversation feel like teamwork, not a test. Remember, a job interview isn't just about them choosing you, it's also about you choosing them.
Exactly. You can think of it like a two-way street. You're both trying to see if it's a good match. And that mindset helps you relax because it's not just about impressing them, it's about finding the right fit.
Perfectly said, Ava. So, listeners, next time you prepare for an interview, write down at least 2 or 3 smart questions to ask at the end. It's a small detail that can make a huge difference.
Yes, and if this tip helped you, hit that like button and share this episode with your friends who are also job hunting. They'll thank you for it later.
Ryan, one of the most important parts of a job interview is when they ask, "What are your strengths and weaknesses?" Many people panic at that question, but if you prepare, it can actually be your best moment.
Oh, I love that topic because how you answer shows self-awareness and honesty. You don't want to sound arrogant, but you also don't want to sound unsure. It's all about balance.
Exactly. For example, instead of saying, "I'm a perfectionist," which everyone says, you could say, "I pay close attention to detail, which helps me deliver high-quality work, but I'm learning to manage my time better when projects get busy." That sounds real and mature.
That's such a smart way to put it. You showed your strength and weakness in one answer, and you ended on a positive note. That's what interviewers love to hear. Honesty with growth.
Right. And when talking about strengths, try to connect them with examples. For instance, one of my strengths is communication. In my last job, I led weekly meetings to keep the team on track. That makes your answer specific and believable.
Yes, and avoid generic answers like, "I'm hardworking" or "I'm responsible." Everyone says that. Instead, show it through examples. Like, "I once stayed late for 2 weeks to complete a project on time." That's how you prove it.
Exactly. Let your experience speak louder than adjectives. And about weaknesses, don't choose something that's too serious, like "I'm always late." That's not professional. Pick something small that you're actively improving.
Right. You could say something like, "Sometimes I focus too much on details, but I'm learning to balance perfection with efficiency." That shows growth, and it turns a weakness into a positive point.
Yes, it's all about showing that you're reflective and willing to improve. Interviewers respect that because it sounds mature and realistic.
Totally. And here's one more bonus phrase our listeners can use. One thing I've been working on is, it sounds natural and polite, and it's perfect for this question.
That's a golden phrase, Ava. So listeners, next time you hear that scary strengths and weaknesses question, smile. It's your chance to show confidence, self-awareness, and communication skills all at once.
Exactly. And if you've learned something new today, share this episode with a friend who's preparing for an interview too. Let's help more learners speak English with confidence. Ryan, you know what else can make or break an interview? The way you talk about your future goals. When interviewers ask, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" they're not looking for magic predictions. They want to see if you have vision and motivation.
Exactly, Ava. It's not really about the exact future. It's about showing that you're focused, ambitious, and loyal. You can say something like, "In 5 years, I see myself growing within this company and taking on more responsibility." That shows stability and enthusiasm.
Yes, or even, "I want to continue developing my leadership and communication skills while contributing to meaningful projects." It's positive and professional, not too specific, but very confident.
Right. The trick is to connect your future goals with the company's goals. For example, since your company values innovation, I'd love to be part of a team that develops new ideas and products. That's how you show alignment.
That's a great example, Ryan. It tells the interviewer that you did your homework, that you know what the company stands for. Always research before the interview. Know their mission, their culture, and what makes them special.
Yes, preparation gives you power. It's like walking into the room with a map. You already know where you're going. And when you sound prepared, you immediately look more confident.
And another small but powerful phrase to use is, "I'm eager to learn and grow." It sounds humble but determined, a perfect balance for English learners who want to sound polite yet confident.
Absolutely. You can also say, "I'm looking forward to taking on new challenges and learning from experienced colleagues." That sentence shows teamwork, respect, and curiosity, 3 qualities every employer loves.
Yes, and remember, even if you're not sure about your 5-year plan, just focus on showing positivity and a desire to improve. That's what matters most.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, employers don't just want a worker, they want someone who will grow with them.
So true, Ryan. And to all our listeners, if you're practicing your future goals answer tonight, write it down, say it out loud, and make it sound like your dream, not just your duty. That's how you impress from the heart.
Beautifully said, Ava. And if this part gave you some inspiration for your own career goals, give this episode a like, share it with your friends, and let's all keep striving for something great.
Ava, let's talk about something that happens to almost everyone: nervousness. Even the best candidates get shaky hands or dry mouths during interviews. It's totally normal, but learning to control it can change everything.
Yes. I think every English learner has felt that panic before speaking, the heart beating fast, the voice shaking. But the truth is, nerves can actually be turned into positive energy if you know how to manage them.
Exactly. One powerful trick is breathing. Before the interview starts, take a deep breath in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 2, and breathe out for 4. It calms your body and clears your mind.
That's so effective. Another tip is visualization. Before you go in, imagine yourself walking confidently into the room, smiling, and answering every question smoothly. Your brain starts to believe that image, and your body follows.
I love that. And one more thing, posture. When you sit up straight, make eye contact, and smile, you instantly feel more confident. It's amazing how your body language affects your mind.
So true. And if you're doing an online interview, make sure your camera is at eye level and your background is clean. Looking professional online gives the same positive impression as in person.
That's a great reminder. And here's something for our listeners. If you forget a word or make a small mistake, don't panic. Just pause, smile, and correct yourself naturally. Everyone makes small errors, even native speakers.
Yes. You can even say, "Sorry, let me say that again," or "I mean," and continue. That sounds confident and natural. It's better than freezing or apologizing too much.
Absolutely. Interviews aren't about perfect grammar. They're about communication, personality, and confidence. People remember how you made them feel more than how perfectly you spoke.
Exactly. And if you prepare well and stay calm, your true personality will shine through. That's what really wins people over.
So, listeners, before your next interview, take 1 minute to breathe, sit tall, smile, and remind yourself you're ready. You've practiced, you've prepared, and you've got this.
That's the spirit. And if you found these confidence tips useful, share this episode with a friend who needs that little boost before their big interview. Let's all help each other succeed.
Thanks for coming in today. Did you have any trouble finding us? Please, take a seat.
Thank you.
So, let's get started. Tell me a bit about your educational background.
Sure. Well, I graduated with honors from Chesterton University with a major in business administration, with a specialization in information management, and I minored in psychology. I chose this course of study for two reasons. I wanted to gain some practical, marketable skills, which the information management track provided, and I also feel that the interpersonal skills are essential for professional success, hence the minor in psychology.
Interesting. And your postgraduate studies?
Well, I am really passionate about consumer behavior, so I pursued a master's in that area. I also strive to keep my professional skills current, so I continuously attend seminars and conferences related to management and customer service.
Very good. Now, tell me a little bit about your work experience. I see here that you previously worked at Oracle.
Yeah, I worked as their customer support manager, which brought me a breadth of experience in both client care and process management. I supervised and coordinated the customer support team as well as implemented new strategies to achieve better customer satisfaction.
Interesting.
Yes, in this position, I was able to make some pretty significant contributions to the overall success of the company. With the different initiatives that we implemented, we lowered our churn rate to about 5%, which had a direct impact on revenue.
Welcome to WorldPod English Video. Today's story is called The Interview Dream. It's about a young professional who is preparing for one of the biggest moments of her life, a job interview that could change everything. It's not just about getting a job. It's about discovering confidence, purpose, and the power of learning. When Emma received the email that said, "Congratulations, you've been shortlisted for the interview," her heart raced. She stood in the middle of her small apartment, holding her phone tightly, whispering, "This is it." For years, she had dreamed of working in a big company, one where her ideas mattered and her voice could be heard. That evening, she sat by her desk, a notebook open, a cup of tea beside her, and her laptop screen glowing softly. She wrote on the top of the page, "Interview preparation." Under it, she listed words she had heard many times but never really understood. Major, minor, pursue, strive, implement. She said aloud, slowly practicing her pronunciation, "I majored in business administration. I minored in psychology." Then she smiled. It sounded professional, confident. She wanted to sound natural and fluent, not like she was reading from a paper. Emma decided that night she wouldn't just memorize answers, she would understand them. She would make every sentence about her real story. So she began to think, why did she choose business administration as her major? It wasn't random. She loved solving problems, finding better ways to do things. And psychology? That was her secret strength, understanding people, listening. She wrote, "I majored in business administration because I wanted to learn how organizations work. I minored in psychology because I believe understanding people is key to success." Then she stopped. The word pursue came to her mind. She whispered, I pursued my degree with passion. She liked that. It sounded alive, full of energy. She decided to practice speaking naturally. I pursued my degree with passion because I've always wanted to make a positive difference in the workplace. She listened to her own voice, repeated it again, and smiled. It felt real. The next thing she wrote was a new phrase she found online. Strive to improve. She underlined it twice. I always strive to improve my skills, she said confidently. That phrase, she thought, showed effort and determination, two things she truly believed in. The night grew quiet, but Emma's mind stayed busy. She thought about how every word in English could show her personality if she used it right. She whispered, This isn't just English. It's my chance to show who I am. As the clock ticked past midnight, she looked at her notes again. Each word now felt like a piece of her dream, a bridge between who she was and who she wanted to become. The story of Emma was just beginning, but at that moment, in her small apartment, surrounded by books and hope, she was not just preparing for a job interview, she was preparing for her future.
The morning sunlight streamed through Emma's window as she woke up earlier than usual. Today was all about practice, not just answering questions, but learning how to sound confident, how to speak English that felt natural and clear. She poured herself some coffee, sat down with her notebook, and whispered, Let's make today count. She opened her laptop and searched common job interview questions in English. The first one she saw made her smile nervously. Tell me about your educational background. She repeated it aloud. Tell me about your educational background. Then she answered softly. Well, I graduated with honors from Chesterton University with a major in business administration and a minor in psychology. She paused, thinking. The words were correct, but her voice lacked emotion. No, she said, shaking her head. I need to sound alive. She tried again, slower this time, with energy. I graduated with honors from Chesterton University with a major in business administration and a minor in psychology. This time, her tone was strong and confident. She smiled. Better, she said. As she practiced, Emma realized that learning English wasn't just about memorizing grammar. It was about rhythm, feeling, and expression. She noticed how words like hence and pursue could make her sentences sound smarter and more professional. She tried using hence in her answer. I chose this course of study because I wanted to develop strong business skills and understand people better, hence the minor in psychology. She grinned. That sounded like something a real professional would say. Then she practiced another key phrase from her list. Breadth of experience. She learned it meant a wide range of experience. She thought of her part-time jobs during university, working at a cafe, helping in the student office, volunteering at events. She had learned so much. She said aloud, I've gained a breadth of experience by working in different environments where I developed both teamwork and problem-solving skills. Her pronunciation stumbled a bit on breath. It was tricky, that TH sound. So she broke it down. Bread. Bleh. She laughed at herself and practiced again until it rolled off her tongue naturally. After a few hours, she leaned back in her chair. She realized something powerful. Every small improvement in her English made her more confident about her future. Every phrase, every sentence was like a small victory. She took a deep breath and whispered, Confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from trying again and again. Later that afternoon, she recorded herself speaking. When she listened back, she could hear progress. Her words were clearer. Her pauses sounded natural. She didn't sound like someone reading a script anymore. She sounded like someone telling her story. That evening, as the sun set, she wrote in her notebook, Today I learned that language isn't only about words. It's about energy, emotion, and belief. I'm not just learning English. I'm learning how to express who I am. She closed her notebook, smiled proudly, and whispered,
I'm getting ready, not just for the interview, but for my dream life. The next morning, the world outside was quiet, but inside Emma's heart, there was excitement mixed with fear. She had written pages of notes and practiced again and again, but she knew that confidence in English didn't come only from knowing the right words. It came from believing in your story. She sat by the mirror, looking at her reflection, and whispered, "Who am I?" Not in a deep philosophical way, but in a simple interview kind of way. How could she explain her experience in a way that sounded natural and strong? She opened her notebook and found another question she had written. "Tell me about your work experience." She took a deep breath and started. "I worked as a customer support manager at a software company. I supervised and coordinated a small team and implemented new strategies to improve customer satisfaction." She stopped and listened to her own words. They sounded professional, but she felt something was missing. Emotion. "Let's make it real," she said softly. She tried again, this time adding warmth and personality. "I worked as a customer support manager at a software company where I learned how to lead a team, solve problems quickly, and make every customer feel valued. I supervised and coordinated daily operations, and I implemented new strategies that helped our company improve client satisfaction." This time it felt alive, like her real story. Then she looked at her vocabulary list and circled one word: implement. She said slowly, "To implement means to make something happen, to put an idea into action." She smiled. "So when I say I implemented strategies, I'm showing that I didn't just think about ideas, I made them real." She loved discovering meaning behind words. They were like keys to expressing who she truly was. After that, she practiced another sentence she had written earlier. "I strived to create a positive work environment where everyone could grow and learn." She underlined strived. To strive, she said aloud, means to try very hard to achieve something. Then she added, "I strive to become better every single day." As she repeated the words, she realized she wasn't just preparing for an interview. She was learning how to think and speak like a confident English speaker, someone who didn't just translate thoughts from her first language, but truly express them in English. She also learned something new that day: the power of being specific. Numbers, examples, and real results made her answers more interesting. She wrote, "During my time as a manager, we lowered customer complaints by 15% and improved satisfaction scores." That sounded strong, measurable, and impressive. She could feel her confidence growing. Before closing her notebook, she whispered, "Every word I learn helps me grow. Every sentence I practice brings me closer to my dream." She looked out the window, watching the clouds move across the sky. The world outside seemed full of opportunities, and she was finally ready to reach for them.
The next day, the air felt fresh, filled with quiet energy. Emma decided to take her practice outside. She walked to a small park near her home, carrying her notebook and a pen. The sound of birds and the gentle wind made her feel calm, a perfect place to think in English. She found a bench, sat down, and opened to a new page. At the top, she wrote in capital letters, "Confidence through preparation." She began reading her notes aloud, slowly and clearly, imagining she was already in the interview room. "Thank you for having me today. I'm really happy to be here." She smiled. It sounded polite and natural.
Then she practiced describing her achievements again, but this time she focused on tone. She wanted to sound warm, but professional, enthusiastic, not nervous. She repeated softly, I supervised a team of 5 people, coordinated projects, and implemented new strategies to improve performance. She thought about each verb: supervised, coordinated, implemented. 3 powerful action words. She realized how important verbs are in interviews. They show what you did, not just what you were responsible for. She took a moment to note that down. Supervise means to manage and guide others. Coordinate means to organize and make things work together. Implement means to put a plan into action. She whispered, strong verbs create strong impressions. As she practiced, an elderly man walking his dog stopped nearby. He smiled and said, practicing for something big, young lady? Emma laughed softly. Yes, I have an important job interview. Ah, the man nodded kindly. You sound confident already. Just remember, they don't only listen to your words, they listen to your energy. His words stayed in her mind. They listened to your energy. She realized that communication wasn't only about vocabulary. It was about how her voice carried emotion, respect, confidence, and enthusiasm. She repeated one of her favorite sentences again, but this time she said it with heart. I always strive to improve my skills and grow both personally and professionally. Her voice was steady, her pronunciation clear. She could almost imagine the interviewer nodding, impressed by her sincerity. Then she wrote down something new she wanted to remember. Language is more than grammar. It's confidence, tone, and attitude. As the sun began to set, Emma closed her notebook and smiled. She felt proud, not because she was perfect, but because she was improving. Each word she practiced, each sentence she repeated was helping her become the kind of person who could walk into any room and speak with clarity and confidence. She stood up, looked at the golden sky, and whispered, I'm not just preparing for an interview, I'm preparing to shine. The night before her interview, Emma's apartment was quiet except for the soft hum of her laptop. She had spent the day reviewing, practicing, and rewriting her answers. But now, it wasn't just about words, it was about mindset. She sat in front of her mirror, looked at her reflection, and whispered, Tomorrow is my chance. Her voice trembled a little, but she smiled. I've worked hard for this, she said again, stronger this time. She opened her notebook one more time. The first line she saw was something she had written days ago. Confidence comes from preparation. She nodded. It was true. Every phrase she learned, every pronunciation she practiced, had built a quiet strength inside her. She turned to the section about describing achievements. It said, I contributed to my company's success by improving communication between teams and implementing new customer service strategies. She read it aloud. Then she added something more personal. I believe teamwork is the heart of success. I always try to encourage others and create a positive atmosphere. As she said the words, she realized that she wasn't only preparing to impress someone, she was preparing to express who she really was. To make her language sound more natural, she practiced linking her ideas with simple connectors like so, therefore, and hence. She said, I enjoy learning new skills. Hence, I often attend online courses to stay up to date. She paused. Hence, she repeated. Such a small word, but it sounds professional and confident. She smiled proudly. Then she worked on one last phrase that she loved. to take initiative. She practiced saying it clearly. In my previous job, I always tried to take initiative, to suggest new ideas and improve processes before being asked. She stopped and thought about how that phrase reflected her character. Taking initiative wasn't just about work, it was about life. She had taken initiative to improve her English, to grow, to move closer to her dreams. After a while, she stood up, stretched, and walked to her window. The city lights flickered below. Somewhere out there, her future was waiting. She whispered softly, "I'm ready." In that quiet moment, she felt calm, not because she knew everything, but because she had prepared with heart. She had learned more than English grammar. She had learned self-belief. Before going to bed, she looked at her reflection one last time and said, "Tomorrow, I'll walk in with confidence, speak with clarity, and show them who I am." And with that, she turned off the lights. Her notebook rested on the desk beside her, filled not just with words, but with the story of how far she had come.
The morning of the interview finally arrived. The sky was bright and clear, as if the world itself was cheering for Emma. She woke up early, feeling both nervous and excited. Her heart raced, but deep down she knew she was ready. She made herself a cup of tea, took a deep breath, and whispered, "Confidence in, fear out." Then she smiled. She had practiced that phrase so many times that it had become her little mantra. As she got dressed, she remembered all the phrases she had learned: strive, pursue, implement, hence, breadth of experience. Each one now felt like a part of her story, not just vocabulary. Before leaving, she stood by her desk and opened her notebook one last time. The words, "Believe in yourself," were written across the last page. She closed the book gently and said, "Let's do this." At the office building, everything felt huge. Glass doors, polished floors, people walking confidently in formal clothes. For a moment, Emma's nerves returned. Her palms felt sweaty. Her mind whispered doubts in English and her native language. But then she remembered the old man in the park. They listen to your energy. She took a deep breath, straightened her back, and walked in with quiet determination. When the interviewer smiled and said, "Good morning, please have a seat," Emma smiled back. Her voice came out calm and warm. "Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here." The first question came quickly. "Tell me a little about your educational background." This was it, her moment. She looked confident and spoke clearly. "I graduated with honors from Chesterton University, where I majored in business administration and minored in psychology. I chose this course of study because I wanted to develop both professional and interpersonal skills, the combination that helps people and organizations grow." The interviewer nodded. Emma continued naturally. "I pursued this path because I've always been interested in understanding how businesses work and help people think. Hence, I wanted to combine logic and empathy in my career." The words flowed beautifully. Her pronunciation was clear, her tone friendly but confident. Next came, "Tell me about your work experience." She smiled, remembering all her practice. "I worked as a customer support manager at a software company. I supervised and coordinated a team of 5 people, and we implemented new strategies that improved client satisfaction by 15%. It gave me a breadth of experience in both leadership and communication." The interviewer smiled. "That sounds impressive." Emma felt her heartbeat slow down, not from fear, but from relief. She was doing it. She was communicating clearly, confidently, and naturally in English. When the interview ended, she stood up, shook hands, and said, "Thank you very much for the opportunity. I really enjoyed our conversation." As she stepped outside, the air felt lighter.
She didn't know if she would get the job yet, but she knew something even more important. She had spoken with confidence. She had shown her best self, and she had done it all in English. Walking down the street, she whispered, "I didn't just have an interview today. I proved to myself that I can do anything I strive for."
That evening, Emma sat by her window, watching the city lights glow softly below. The interview was over, but her thoughts were still live, replaying every question, every word, every smile. She smiled to herself. "I did it," she whispered. "I really did it." Her notebook was still open on the desk, the same one she had used for weeks, pages filled with words, examples, and motivational quotes. She looked at one line she had written early in her preparation. Fluency is not about speaking fast. It's about speaking with confidence. Those words finally made sense. During the interview, she hadn't rushed. She had spoken slowly, clearly, and with meaning. Every sentence had come from her heart, not from memory. She remembered one special moment when she had said, "I strive to improve myself every day." The interviewer had smiled and nodded. That simple sentence had shown more than grammar. It had shown her attitude. Emma realized that English wasn't only a language. It was a bridge, connecting her to people, opportunities, and dreams. She opened a new page in her notebook and wrote, "Today I learned that communication is not about perfect grammar. It's about expressing who you are." Then she practiced a few new phrases she had picked up from English podcasts earlier that week. To stand out, to be different in a good way, to take initiative, to act before being asked, to grow professionally, to develop your career and skills. She repeated them out loud. "I always try to stand out by taking initiative and showing that I'm eager to grow professionally." She said it again, this time with a smile. It sounded natural, confident, and alive. Emma decided she wanted to keep learning English, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. Every new word felt like a door opening to something bigger. She watched the stars outside her window and whispered, "English has become my tool for dreams." Then she thought of all the people around the world learning English just like her, people who might be nervous, shy, or unsure. She wished they could feel what she felt right now, that quiet pride after doing something difficult and beautiful. She wanted to tell them, don't be afraid of mistakes. Be proud of effort. Every time you try, you're growing. Emma leaned back in her chair, feeling calm. Whether she got the job or not, she had already succeeded in something much more important, believing in her own voice. A few days later, Emma was walking home from the grocery store when her phone buzzed. She stopped in the middle of the street, heart pounding. The screen showed an unfamiliar number, but something told her it was them. She answered softly, "Hello, this is Emma speaking." A warm voice replied, "Hi, Emma. This is Laura from Chesterton Technologies. We're happy to inform you that you've been selected for the position." For a second, she couldn't move. Her eyes widened, her heart raced, and her mind went completely blank. Then she finally managed to say, "Really? Oh my goodness, thank you so much. That's wonderful news." After hanging up, she stood still for a moment, smiling so wide it almost hurt. She had done it. Not just the interview, but the dream itself. As she walked home, she whispered, "All those hours of practice, all those mistakes, all those late nights, they were worth it." When she got home, she placed her groceries on the table and opened her notebook again.
On the very first page, she had written, "Goal: get the job and speak English with confidence." She drew a small check mark next to it and wrote underneath, "Achieved." But she didn't stop there. On the next page, she wrote a new goal: keep growing. She remembered a phrase she had practiced over and over: "I strive to keep my professional skills current." Now, it made even more sense. She realized that success didn't mean stopping. It meant continuing to learn, to grow, to become even better. That night, she recorded a short message on her phone, speaking in English. "Today, I got the job I've always wanted, but more than that, I proved to myself that I can communicate, express, and dream in English." Learning a language is not only about words, it's about courage, patience, and self-belief. Listening back, her voice sounded confident, calm, and happy. She thought about all the new vocabulary she had learned: pursue, strive, implement, hence, breath, contribution. Each word wasn't just a part of English anymore. It was a part of her story. Later that evening, she stood by her window again. The same view, the same city, but everything felt different now. She whispered softly, "I'm not afraid anymore. I'm ready for what's next." Her journey with English wasn't ending. It was just beginning. A journey of growth, opportunity, and endless discovery. Weeks passed and Emma began her new job. The office was bright and modern, filled with people from different backgrounds. Every day felt like a new adventure, full of meetings, projects, and conversations in English. At first, she worried that her English might not be good enough, but soon she realized something powerful. Communication was not about perfection. It was about connection. When she spoke with honesty and confidence, people understood her. When she smiled and listened carefully, they respected her. She remembered her first team meeting. Her manager asked, "Does anyone have an idea for improving our client experience?" Everyone went quiet for a moment. Then Emma raised her hand. Her voice trembled a little, but she said, "I think we could create a customer feedback form to track satisfaction. It would help us implement improvements faster." The room fell silent, then her manager smiled. "That's a great idea, Emma. Let's do that." She had done it again, used her English to make something happen. She had taken initiative, just like she practiced saying. That evening, she wrote in her notebook one last time. "I've learned that English is not just a subject. It's a bridge. It connects me to people, ideas, and opportunities I never imagined." She added another line below it. "I will continue to pursue learning, to strive for growth, and to implement what I learn every day." The words pursue, strive, and implement now carried real meaning. They weren't just vocabulary, they were habits guiding her through life. Sometimes during her lunch breaks, she still practiced new phrases she heard from colleagues. She loved how natural English had become, not perfect, but real. And with each new conversation, her confidence grew stronger. One day, as she walked home under a soft sunset, she thought back to that nervous girl sitting in her apartment weeks ago, whispering English sentences in front of a mirror. She smiled. She said quietly, "That girl believed in herself, and because she did, I'm here today." Emma's story wasn't about luck. It was about effort, courage, and the beautiful process of learning. She had started with fear and ended with freedom. And as she looked up at the golden sky, she whispered, "The best thing about learning is that it never ends." Thank you for being a part of World Pod English Video. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment to support our growing English learning community.
All right, well, I want to talk about two main things. And the first thing I want to talk about is how you address this question about your educational background. Like, what is the interviewer looking to find out?
Okay, perfect. So when you are talking about your educational background, you shouldn't only talk about your college degree, right?
Yep.
You should also talk about any type of training that you've had.
Yeah, I think it's really important to let the interviewer know that you're continually trying to update your skills and improve your knowledge. So any sort of courses or seminars that you might attend, this is a great chance to highlight those.
And that's what the interview is looking for, right?
Also, any trade publications, any magazines that you read related to your job is a great way to sort of highlight your desire to keep learning.
Well, I think that's really important because it's good that you went to a good university, you got this degree and everything, but continuously training yourself, and maybe just by listening to business podcasts or reading specific magazines or stuff like that, that is demonstrating that you care about what you do and that you are continuously learning, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so those are the main things to talk about in your educational background. Now, when this work experience question pops up, what should you really say?
When you're answering this question, I think there's something really important to keep in mind.
What's that?
You want to make sure that you're being as specific as possible, right?
Right, so giving examples of what you've done.
Like, really specifically what you did, all of the sort of the main achievements you have.
Okay, so like for example, we saw in our dialogue that he talked about specific strategies that he implemented to improve customer support in that company.
Right, and he gave some numbers.
Right, he said, he lowered the churn rate to about 5%.
So it's so important whenever you can attach a number to your success or your achievement, to be able to do that in the interview really demonstrates your achievement.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And another thing when you're talking about previous jobs is make sure you keep it on a positive note, right? Even if your experience was not very good or you didn't like the company or you had problems, you should avoid talking about that and always keep it on a positive note.
Right. So if the interviewer asks you why you want to join this company, why you're looking to leave your current job, you want to give these positive reasons.
Right. You don't want to say, well, because my boss was a jerk or I didn't like the company anymore. You should answer it with something positive like, well, I think I need a change, or this job opportunity is more aligned with what I want to do in the future, etc. Yeah, so positive always on your interviews, and just, again, prepare for these questions that are always going to be there.
Yes.
So, Erica, I know that you've done a lot of interviews, and I understand that you've had a really weird question.
Yes. In an interview, I once got this question. If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
Really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. I really was asked that question.
What did you answer?
I think I said that I would want to be a willow tree because they're really beautiful.
Was that the right answer?
I don't know. Like, what are you supposed to answer to that question? I really don't know what the right answer was.
Well, some people, they'll ask you just, I don't know, random questions just to see what your response is. I think also maybe it's just how you deal with the pressure
or with the unexpected questions.
Right. So it's like that is pretty unexpected though. But I guess you handled it pretty well.
Okay. Well, I mean, I got the job. So
nice. All right.
All right. I want to know from our listeners, if they were a tree, what kind of tree they would be.
Yeah. And also tell us about, your job experience or your educational background. Well, I know, for example, that I've had a lot of different types of jobs. I've even been that person that gets on the bus and charges people the money.
I know. You've had every
Random
job
jobs.
under the sun.
So, but it's great. So tell us, what's the weirdest job you've had? What's the craziest or the best job? Or any experiences?
Yes. So visit our website, englishpod.com. Leave your questions and comments there on the website.
And we'll definitely be there to answer them. And we hope to see you there.
Thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. The history of the education you've had.
Educational background.
With special recognition for receiving very high marks.
With honors.
The main field of study in an undergraduate degree.
Major.
A limited area of study.
Specialization.
To have a secondary area of study in an undergraduate program.
Minor.
The combination of courses taken in a degree program.
Course of study.
Course of study.
Track.
Master's or PhD, education above the bachelor's degree level.
Postgraduate.
For that reason.
Hence.
Try to do something over a longer period of time.
Pursue.
Try hard to do something.
Strive.
A wide range or scope of something.
Breadth.
Important and large enough to have a noticeable effect.
Significant.
Adding or giving something.
Contribution.
University education.
Tertiary education.
Take the chance to do something before others do.
Take initiative.
Make something different in a special way.
Distinguish.
A good quality or feature that someone has.
Attribute.
Examine something in a careful and critical way.
Scrutinize.
Let's try that faster. Take the chance to do something before others do.
Take initiative.
A good quality or feature that someone has.
Attribute.
To have a secondary area of study in an undergraduate program.
Minor.
With special recognition for receiving very high marks.
With honors.
The history of the education you've had.
Educational background.
Try to do something over a longer period of time.
Pursue.
Course of study.
Track.
Master's or PhD, education above the bachelor's degree level.
Postgraduate.
For that reason.
Hence.
University education.
Tertiary education.
Adding or giving something.
Contribution.
The combination of courses taken in a degree program.
Course of study.
The main field of study in an undergraduate degree.
Major.
A limited area of study.
Specialization.
Try hard to do something.
Strive.
Important and large enough to have a noticeable effect.
Significant.
Make something different in a special way.
Distinguish.
Examine something in a careful and critical way.
Scrutinize.
A wide range or scope of something.
Breadth.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Course of study. I chose this course of study because it offers a wide range of work opportunities. Course of study. I want to change my course of study before the next semester starts. Course of study. My sister didn't choose her course of study. My parents decided for her. Pursue. They wanted to pursue their dream of traveling around the world, but it didn't happen. Pursue. My mother wants me to pursue a career in law. Pursue. You should really pursue that master's degree. It would really help your career. Strive. If you want to be successful, you must strive to achieve your goals. Strive. We strive to bring you outstanding customer service. Strive. Our company always strives to make our products better and better. Hence. The project was a complete failure. Hence, the project manager was fired. Hence. The project was postponed for 3 months, hence the delay in delivery. Hence. I never studied for my exams, hence my low marks.